1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air.
Pod.
And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. You're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen,
Southside Pod.
Blue Island, Beverly, Pay Listen, all sub 2. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oak Lawn, Midlothian,
Southside Pod.
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
So I cleaned out a dumpster's worth of junk from this house.
Did you call that that
dumpster.
company?
What company?
I don't know, like the
dumpster company?
The got junk people?
No, I didn't do that. I just basically I just
Oh, you rented a dumpster.
rented a dumpster.
Okay.
And then enlisted my older children.
Yeah.
And
What
we
did
just
you throw out?
I mean, God, I threw out so much stuff. I threw out stuff that, like, I remember when they wanted it and they were little and it took forever to put it together.
Right.
And then nobody had played with it. And it was like, and I was like, garbage. Everything went. It was goofy. Like old furniture went. There were bins. This is the thing that I noticed. In the basement, we had full bins full of things that I had put in a bin when I moved here 15 years ago from my
got out of
apartment
that bin.
and never opened it up. And I would open a bin and be like, why did I keep this?
Right.
Garbage.
Done.
Like, I was throwing out so much junk. I filled a bin or a dumpster that carried 4 tons.
Oh my God.
And we filled it to the rim and had it taken away by a truck.
Nice.
And it was just clutter around the house. And the house still feels like there's too much crap in it. like it still feels like there's too much crap in it, man. Like I went through the closet and I gave away I gave away maybe 60% of my clothes to like the Goodwill or threw it in the garbage.
Okay.
It still feels like I have too much clothes. Like I have way too much
just,
crap.
Purged your whole home.
I've been purging.
I like it.
Okay. And I figure it's better to purge like items in the house than purge the family. So I purged they're in the way as well, but I figured it was better to get rid of old toys and stuff like that. That made more sense to me. It is now time for your Southside Pod Word on the Street. Let's see what's going on around the South Side. Okay, let's see what we'll talk about this week. The mayor of Orland Park is running for Congress. He actually filed with the Federal Election Committee. He's probably been one of the most vocal local politicians throughout the pandemic, so it makes sense. There's been a series of aggravated carjackings, and aggravated does not mean it annoys you. It's because there are weapons involved, and this has been happening in Chicago on the South Side, Beverly Morgan Park area. Most recently, one in the area of 116th and Oakley, the other one around 110th and South Harding Avenue. And according to CBS News, that second one on Harding, one of the carjackers was a 10-year-old boy. As my grandmother once said, it seems like we're all headed to hell in a handbasket. Some positive news out of Palos School District 118. Students from that district took home 2 top prizes at the 2021 Young Inventor Challenge, held virtually in November. 4th grade students Lucy Pater and Kaylee Smith won the most innovative pet toy category. They had a puppy piñata. It's a piñata for puppies. It's not a puppy that you use as a piñata. Anyway, another 4th grader, Juliana Zagata, won the most creative category with a game called Kawaii Corners. This weekend, Saturday, November 27th, head over to Oak Lawn. Santa's going to be there. Contactless visit with children from noon until 3 p.m. at the gazebo behind the library, 9446 South Raymond Avenue. In Evergreen Park, as part of their Support Our Businesses Saturday on November 27th, starting at 9 a.m. going till about 2 p.m., they are doing a money tree hunt. You could win $250, but you better know a lot about Evergreen Park, and you better be there for the first clue as people will be running through the village. Starting at 9 a.m., they start at the First National Bank of Evergreen Park on the corner of 95th and Pulaski. And next weekend, looking ahead, not only will Evergreen Park be having their big Dickens Christmas Festival, but out in Blue Island, they'll be having a lot of fun as well on Saturday, December the 4th. Christmas in Blue Island going to be taking place in the city parking lot between High and Union on Western Avenue with a Kris Kringle Mart under the tents from 2 to 9 p.m., Also, during the day, free Christmas movies, train rides for the kids, petting zoo with pony rides, and they're going to light the park at York and Western with the mayor at 5 p.m. And then a light parade kicks off at 5:30 going down Western Avenue from Prairie to Grove. And do not forget Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there. Bring your camera, get a picture, free pictures with the jolly old elf. And that is your word on the street from Southside Pod. Joining me on the phone line right now, this is an interesting group. There's not another one like it, really, on the south side of Chicago. It's out of Blue Island and Robbins, the Blue Island Robbins Neighborhood Network. And joining me on the phone right now from the, and I'm going to try to use the acronym, the BIRNN, we have Carol Kuzman. How are you, Carol?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. You guys are basically a help the community group, right? I was trying to figure out how to describe you, and it's essentially you're a community support group. Is that the best way to kind of describe what you do?
That is the best way to describe us, yes. We are here to help in any way we possibly can.
What is the biggest thing that you do? Is it job placement? Is it helping out with those that are in need when it comes to food?
I would say probably our number one thing that we've really tackled, we started in 2016, and we had coffees and breakout sessions with community members, and the one thing that kept coming up was food insecurity. It's a big problem on our side. We have Robbins, who does not have one food pantry, and Blue Island, we actually started a food pantry in Blue Island in cooperation with Blue Cap, where people can come in on Tuesdays from 9 to 1. They have great food. They work with Greater Food Depository. We got it up and going. We actually sponsor them every month, so we make sure that, when it comes to the needs, you have milk, you have bread, you have stuff that you can't get at every food pantry. They're really good at doing that. So we we have been working with them and building them up, and we got them some freezers and some other stuff so they can have bigger capacity. And it's a great place, but we know that food insecurity is a big issue. It was a big issue before COVID came along. So we've been really pushing how to get information out there, food pantries that are available, trying to help people if they don't have SNAP, how to get it, how to understand the PEBT they gave to families, because people just didn't understand what that was. And we also partner with different groups, so like Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. We do food giveaways over at their new facility, and we just partnering all around. And we actually did a food survey and had a university come out and do it, showing that there actually could be a feasible working grocery store in Robbins, and they came out and did this big survey. So now we're trying to push. Our dream goal is to have an actual grocery store in Robbins, and we're working on getting a food pantry over there, too.
That's awesome. I'm going to tell you that we, in our journeys here in Southside Pod, come and meet so many different people from all over the South Side. And I just recently was having a conversation with the folks in charge of the Evergreen Park Food Pantry in 98th and Washtenaw. And they were telling me, they do one give out, for a couple hours. I think it's 9:30 until noon on Fridays over at that location, where they hand out their food to people in the area that are in need. And they were telling me there's an increase. Over the last month or so, it's almost at the same levels as when the outbreak began during this pandemic. And one of the comments that I was given was, this is almost like the canary in the coal mine. There's something happening in the economy. There's something happening with supply chains. And there are more people that seem to be in need all of a sudden, and they think it's going to grow over the next couple of months. Are you guys seeing anything like that on your end?
We are, actually. And I think it's most a multiple thing going on. We've noticed in the grocery stores, prices are just getting insane on stuff. Even the simple things like boxes of cereal for kids, things like that, everything is going up. The price of gas is going up. So if you start to see all those little things, your turkey dinner, I had looked at, I used to work for a catering company in Blue Island, and I looked in their turkey dinner used to be about $86. Get a little turkey dinner in case you didn't cook. It's about $186 now because their prices have raised so much. So if you think about it, they're trying to reach out, so they're not making as much money as they used to because they're struggling. And then us as, regular people, you want to go buy something, you can't do it because it's too expensive. And you go to the store to buy the stuff, and the stuff is really expensive. So, it's sort of kind of a trickle-down effect where it's getting the restaurants that are around. It's getting people trying to buy stuff. And, I've ran into people who say, well, I used to do a turkey and ham, but I can't afford both. So we're going to do one this year. And they're happy to be able to do one.
Yeah, I know. And Your group, the Blue Island Robbins Neighborhood Network, when it just comes to the food pantries, if somebody needs some help or if somebody wants to contribute because they're able to help out, what's the best way for both of those things? How do they get the help? How do they help out if they can help?
So the best way to come and get help is go to Blue Cat Pantry. It's on Broadway. It's in Blue Island. Like I said, they're open on Tuesdays from 9 to 1. Great place, wonderful people. It's just wonderful because it's a center for people who have disabilities, and they're actually there to help you pack up your groceries, and they have where you shop yourself. So they don't just make you take food. They don't give you something. It's a really pleasurable experience where you walk through and people are so nice to you and so polite, and they fill up your cart for you. You have grocery carts just like you do at a grocery store. We're not there to take away anybody's pride. It's here. Please take it. So that's a great place to go. In Blue Island, you also have Salvation Army. They do a food pantry on Wednesdays in the afternoon. And we have St. Benedict Church who does it on Fridays from 11 to 1. I'm sorry, from 9 to 11. 9 to 11. And Robbins, like I said, we don't have anything yet, but we did start a community garden this summer. So hopefully we'll have that started in full bloom next year. And also they're working on a food pantry as we speak. If you want to do donations, you can go to Blue Cap online, or you can even call them. They have a door. You can come bring stuff in. They always take stuff because they have so many families lined up. They can always use it.
If people want to follow what you're doing, if they want to get in touch with you, if they want to see everything that you're doing, because honestly, you and I, Carol, we could probably talk for a half hour, a full hour about all the things that you guys do at the Blue Island Robbins Neighborhood Network. They can follow you on Facebook. There's a page right there for Blue Island Robbins Neighborhood Network. You can also follow them on Twitter. I see that at BIRN Network on Twitter. And then it looks like you got a nice little section that describes everything that you do on the Blue Island Chamber of Commerce page, blueislandchamber.org.
Those are all good spots, or if they have any questions, they can email me personally. My email is KUSMAN with the letter C at metrofamily.org. Anytime, send me an email. I'll get back to you. I'm pretty good about it, and I can help any way possible.
Carol Kuzman, I appreciate you jumping on and explaining a little bit about your group, anything that we can do to shed light on it so that people can get some help, especially now as we hit the holidays. And like I said, it just feels like there's something on the horizon here. Things are not exactly right, and people are going to need more help, I think, than ever over the next couple of months. I appreciate all the work that you're doing at the BIRNN, and I appreciate you jumping on Southside Pod.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. It is now time for your South Side Sound Check. Live music is back at many venues. Check out these. In Crestwood at the Thirsty Beaver all weekend long, they have bands coming in. 5599 West 127th Street. Replay on Friday night. One Up there on Saturday night. And the Time Bandits are there on Sunday afternoon. Meanwhile, Wednesday night, 115 Bourbon Street in Marionette Park, Lala on the stage at 10 p.m. Friday night at 10 p.m., 16 Candles and the Ron Burgundies are there on Saturday night, November the 27th at 10 p.m. And in Blue Island at the Blue Island Beer Company, Saturday night, November 27th, 7 p.m. start for the Jimi Hendrix birthday party with American Hustle. Fun, high-energy show, $10 at the door. Get out to Blue Island. I thought everybody would be exhausted from eating turkey on Thursday, but clearly, still some live music and some shows going on around the South Side this weekend. So did you hear about this contest that we're having?
I've heard.
We're doing this thing on Sox in the Basement. I'm going to do a little cross
The
promo.
White Sox podcast.
Yes. So Sox
What is it, the number one White Sox?
Number one White Sox podcast from what I can see online. When I look at it, it's not like in radio where they have like an Arbitron book or Nielsen
number
for
one,
TV.
25 to 49.
Yeah, they don't put out a book, and there's a lot of different sites that claim a lot of different things, but I always look off of like third-party stats, and I use the Internet Advertising Bureau, which is like the toughest standard.
Yeah.
Okay, like you could do a thing where it's like, these many people clicked on my website or whatever, and it would show you like a ridiculous number. I go by the one that keeps track of like, did they listen? Did they listen to almost the entire show? How long did they listen for? All those stats that actually make a difference.
Because I clicked on podcasts before like, this sucks. 5 seconds in.
Some people count that as a listen. Mine don't count that. Okay? So like that's the difference right there, okay? So you don't get credit for if somebody thought you sucked. Okay. That's basically how it goes. Right. So anyway, Sox in the Basement is doing a thing where Elite Benefits of America, and that's why I'm mentioning it, they're the sponsors of this show.
Yes.
And Butch Zemar will help out your business with all of its insurance needs. He's also got a podcast called the Zemar Podcast, and you can find that anywhere podcasts can be found. And he talks about like, how to save money with your business and how he can bring in really good health insurance for you and give you a lot of options for your employees, but it won't cost them as much money and you as much money. And that's what he does.
Does he do only business or just individuals too?
He will give individuals advice.
Okay.
But he will not I don't think he sets up individual insurance.
All right. So if you got a business or a small business, Butch is your man.
But he's happy to help people out.
All right.
Okay. He's a good guy. So anyway, and you can check him out at elitebenefits.net. But Butch put up $1,000 and we're going to give it away to a listener on Sox in the Basement who brings in the best guest of the off season.
Okay.
Which
Does it
the
have
White
to be
Sox are
sports
right
related?
now. No. So it could be anything.
And how do you determine what the best guess is?
We're going to take the top four and we're going to put a poll up and we're going to let the listeners
how do you even
decide.
say what the top four is?
Well, you got to impress me and Ed.
Okay.
So Ed and I on the show have to be impressed.
Okay.
Like I said, like if you can get the person into the bar, you probably got a leg up, than if I get them over the phone.
Yeah,
but over the phone might be good if they're a big star.
Okay.
There's not an exact criteria to it.
So if you get like, some guy from the front office down in the bar versus Ozzie Guillen on the phone.
Right. Well, if Rick Hahn comes and sits here, that's probably going to win.
Okay.
Unless, of course, like I get, who else could I think of? Like I get a big movie star or something like that, right?
Well, why not?
I might go for that.
Am I eligible to do this? Because I think I'm just going to reach out to these people and say, hey, if you come down here, I'm going to donate $1,000 to charity.
Yeah, that'd be fine. You want to? I don't care.
A charity of your choice.
Like I don't care. Like I'm waiting to see
but it
how
could be
it
anybody.
goes. It could be.
It could be Jennifer Garner.
Yes, that might win.
It could be Alec Baldwin.
Right. It could be Alec. Well, no, not Alec Baldwin.
You don't have any prop guns down here, do you? Hey, what does this do? Kablamo. And I'm the new host.
Go to soxinthebasement.com, get more details.
Too soon?
A pitcher of beer, let's order another pitcher of beer. That pitcher of beer should come over here. I love that pitcher of beer.
Southside Pod, back at One Allegiance. Zach Strudakis is sitting here with me, and this is the season, Zach, for dark beers. Like, I'm a dark beer fan during this time. I'm a porter, I'm a stout, I'm a something coming out of a barrel, and you guys have a ton of options, including the porter I'm drinking right here. So, first of all, how are you? And secondly, tell me about this thing, because I've been in here, I think, 3-4 times in the last month. And this is becoming my go-to when I walk into One Allegiance.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Chris. What you're having right in front of you is our crawlspace porter. We've had it on tap since day one. It was one of my favorite beers that I used to brew at home, and literally would ferment my beer in the crawlspace, and that's where the name came about. So
that's where that comes from?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And what's funny is that I'm acting like I just discovered a new beer and it's been on there the whole time, but I'm an IPA guy in the summer. Like, it just depends on how you feel. This is like that time of year, you get that chill, you're putting on the warm clothes and you're like, okay, give me something dark. Do you find that that's what sells this time of year?
Yeah, seasonality in beer is just huge, and we'll have it on tap through the summertime because there's people that like to drink dark beers year round. But once this cold weather comes in and it's sweater season, people go crazy for it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So this is one of your original ones that you brewed, and that's one of the things that I always find that's interesting about this brewery. This is one where the guy who's running the whole thing is doing everything. I mean, you're brewing the beer and running the scene here, man. I mean, like, it's crazy, and you have a ridiculous amount of beers on tap. What's the average here? I think you were telling me 16 beers on tap all the time?
Yeah, we keep 16 rotating all the time, and we're constantly moving through, finding something new. So by next week, we'll have something that'll kick, and we'll put another new beer right on to replace it.
That's incredible. All right, so before I move on from this porter, how do you make a porter? What's the secret to making a good porter? Because I've had porters before and there's something wrong with the aftertaste, or there's just something that just doesn't seem right about it. And you made one that, like, this porter right here puts most of the ones that I've had to shame, and that's why I drink it. Like, when I find a beer in a brewery, it's because not only is it good, but it's good compared to other places where I can sit there and say, yeah, that's one of my go-tos when I walk into that place. So tell me what goes into this.
Well, thanks, first of all, Chris, because that means a lot. The way we make the porter, we layer different malts, and one of the things is balancing all of the dark malts that you put in a beer and finding a way where they're not going to be too much, but not too little. So all of that chocolate flavor comes directly from malt. And then the next thing you got to do is balance the sweetness, and that's what gives you all the drinkability. So you got this nice malty, forward, sweet beer, and then we throw it on nitro, which amplifies it even more. So you're drinking it, and it's just got this smooth mouthfeel. It goes down super easy and makes you want to have another one.
Awesome. So now you have a release coming up. And we got Thanksgiving weekend here upon us, and I know a lot of places are doing things basically from Thanksgiving through the holidays where there's all these different releases that happen. You have one, you were super excited I pronounced it correctly, okay, because it's spelled L-E-A-D, and most people would mispronounce it and say lead. I mean, it's from the Polar Express. It's like it 'tis the season to watch that that movie, and that's where they would go. But I looked at the label, I was like, that's gray, that's called lead, and that's what you call this one. So tell me a little bit about lead, your special release.
Yeah, you got it. So this was one of the first barrel-aged beer that we've done. We filled Templeton Rye whiskey barrels a month after we opened last March, and it's been aging ever since. So this is going on a year and a half in Templeton Rye barrels. We just bottled it up. We have a regular version that we're going to release next Wednesday on draft and in bottles, and then we also have a peanut butter cup variant of it, which is just phenomenal, and you got to come out and try it.
Yeah. So this is something that when people come out, they're going to say, I want to get the lead. I want to try it. I want to get down with it. And now is the time to get over to One Allegiance and try that beer. And, you know, I always wondered about peanut butter flavors because I think the first time I had one, I was worried about it. But there's a certain section of people, just like those people who love coffee in their beers, right? There's a certain section that just loves the peanut butter additive to the beer. Take me through that process. I mean, are you just taking like a thing of Jif or Peter Pan and you're just scooping it in there at some point? Like, how do you do that?
It's just kind of similar to our Oreo beer.
Which is amazing. Look, they have an Oreo stout here we didn't talk about that I had the other night at this place, and it was great, and it went straight to my hips. Like I could only have one, but it was amazing. But like, is that you're not dumping Oreo cookies into the vat? Is that what you're doing? Directly
into the tank, Oreo cookies, and that's what gives it all of that flavor.
So with peanut butter, you're just throwing peanut butter in?
Peanut butter, we tried different things. Peanut butter, unfortunately, doesn't come across as well as Oreo does. So we have to kind of use a couple different processes and make something else work. We've tried like dehydrated peanut flour, and that comes through really well. It gives you all that peanut flavor, but then you want some of that sweetness, some of that like peanut butter cup flavor. And for that, there's a special secret that I can't give you everything about.
Really? You're going to hold back from me? That's what you're going to do?
I got to hold back the secret sauce.
All right. Well, check out Zach's secret sauce, I guess. It's in the lead. That doesn't sound right when I say that out loud. Okay, check out lead. It's been aged 18 months. It's here at One Allegiance. You want to check that out during the holiday season. The porter that I'm talking about, it's an original. It's something that Zach came up with before he even opened this place up. 102nd in Harlem. Sometimes you could drive right by it, but it's not hard to miss. So if you drive by it, you'll see it. You'll flip a Yui. You'll come back over and get it. And Zach, I really appreciate you sitting down with us here at One Allegiance.
Yeah, it's been good to be on the show, and wish everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Now time for your Southside Pod Shop Local Spotlight. Catcher's Boot Camp is something that's coming to Grinders Training Academy. I've talked about them before. They're over at 102nd and Kedzie. They work your kids out, man. They got yoga for kids 10 and up. You can do it with your kids. They have yoga for adults and kids. They got weightlifting. They're going to teach your kid like how to build some muscle to get ready for playing sports. They have individualized coaching programs and much, much more. They're also having a catcher's boot camp January 22nd. This will be off-site in Elsip at 5012 West 123rd Street at the Bullpen Sports Facility. They have an advanced class and one for beginners to intermediates, $50 per session and a max of 20 girls per session. This is for softball catchers. You reserve your spot right now by sending a text to 708-305-7648 or 773-569-7487. Check out everything they have to offer at Grinders Academy, grinderswithaz.com. And remember, if you need a tow, the official tow company of Southside Pod is Dreamers Towing and Recovery. They'll also buy your junk cars. Put this number into your phone and have it ready when disaster strikes. 773-410-4549. The Alec Baldwin thing. Did you notice that, like, when that happened, it became like the top news story on national news sites.
Right, we forgot about COVID for a day.
We forgot about COVID for a week or two.
It was awesome.
Like, I mean, it was like all about Alec Baldwin shooting somebody.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like that became like the thing.
Right.
And it got me.
That lady was still counted as a COVID death, by the way.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Sure, she tested positive for COVID afterwards.
I'm an awful person.
It's terrible to say.
Anyway.
But it's true. You were telling me that there's other celebrities who have killed somebody.
Throughout the years, there have been multiple celebrities that have killed people. And after Alec Baldwin...
and I couldn't think of any. So that's why I want to know if you go through... I couldn't think of any celebrities that had killed somebody.
Let me just name a few. And,
all right.
And most of these off this list that I can remember are like car accidents.
Except for O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, he never killed a soul.
Yeah, you're right.
He just killed it on the football field. Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner killed somebody?
2015. She was in a car accident.
Oh,
in
I
Malibu,
remember this now.
California.
Caitlyn Jenner killed somebody.
Yes, she did.
Was she Caitlyn at the time, or was she Bruce?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's how she got out of it, actually. Bruce killed a guy, but they looked for Bruce for the court case. Couldn't find him.
But like, this new Caitlyn was hey.
Hi, Bruce Jenner. She's like,
no. My name's Caitlyn.
I'm Caitlyn.
Are you sure you're not Bruce Jenner? Who else killed somebody?
Here, wait, let me give you a list of people who didn't kill people. Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner just... But Caitlyn did. Matthew Broderick, you remember him?
I remember this
DUI,
story.
I believe.
Yeah, he killed somebody in a car.
It was in Ireland.
DUI,
yeah.
He was on the wrong... No. He fell asleep.
Yes.
Didn't he? He was on the wrong side of the road or whatever.
Right.
I don't know if he was DUI
couldn't remember
or not.
how it happened, apparently, but he was in the wrong lane.
Something, I killed somebody.
Right.
In a car.
Ferris Bueller.
Right, exactly.
Venus Williams.
Venus Williams killed somebody?
Tennis star.
What did she do?
Fatal car crash in Florida.
She
went through an
that.
intersection, collided with another car in 2017.
Man, these celebrities, they get away with everything.
Right.
Because I'm like, Venus Williams? Did she go to prison?
Boom.
Like, none of them go to prison.
Here's one that was surprising.
Who?
Laura Bush.
Laura Bush killed somebody.
Former First Lady. Fatal car crash. Again, she
Another
was only a
fatal car
teenager.
crash. Did anybody shoot anybody? Do we have any shootings? Hangings, stabbings, drownings?
Dick Cheney shot somebody, right?
Yeah, didn't he shoot somebody in the face?
I don't think he died.
That was the whole thing. Didn't he shoot somebody in the face with a shotgun, but the guy lived?
Yeah,
exactly.
He didn't die, though. We want to do strictly shootings? I didn't look up shootings.
No, just find me anybody else interesting that's
Jimmy
killed
Stewart?
somebody. Jimmy Stewart killed somebody?
That was World War II and he was a soldier.
Okay, well, you're a jerk.
Thank you for listening to see what's happening on the Southside Pod. On the Southside Pod. Join us again and be sure to tell a friend about the Southside Pod. About the Southside Pod. All things about the neighborhood we live in. All things about the places that we go. It's the best side of Chicago, the South Side Pod. And here's the shocker of them all.
Okay, who?
Snoop Dogg.
No.
Yeah, murder was the case that he gave him.
Oh. That was the worst joke you've ever told
so sorry.
on this podcast.
I'm so sorry.
Or will ever tell again.
I'm so sorry.
It was terrible.